All right, so today's video, finally getting to work on this thing again. Last time I worked on this, box got painted, the deck got painted, and at some point I put brand new tires. I did do brand new lights as well, but since the accident, I think only some of the lights are working. You can tell as to probably why they got ripped off. So in today's video, I got a lot of goodies for it. So I got a battery that'll finally power the winch without me having to hook up my, my jump pack to it. I got brand new wire here. So we're gonna rewire everything with fresh new wires because these wires are kind of getting old and brittle. So rewire the trailer. We have a new breakaway battery system. So we're gonna get rid of this old one, put the new system in, and then finally, you remember I've been using the ratchet strap. I finally fixed it. I was looking for this bolt for the longest time. I finally found it. What had happened was, over time, if I can find the little piece, over time it had kind of rusted away from, you could see here, it broke away from up here. So tighten this back down and now this actually closes. So no more ghetto ratchet strap to hold it closed. I also got a brand new trailer plug, a whole new box and a whole new plug. And so what we'll do today, hopefully in this video, we'll put all brand new lights, all brand new wires so that the trailer brakes for it work. And then we're gonna wire this up, hardwire it up to the actual battery. So we'll mount this battery up somewhere over here and then kind of get this cleaned up because it's been a mess. I usually keep my extra wood. Now that the truck's got a ton of cover, it makes it so much easier. So we'll get rid of this box, keep it as a backup just in case. We'll wire up the new wire for it. We'll put the new trailer plug on it, and then we'll wire up the new breakaway battery as well that we have here. And now will be a fully functioning trailer. But one thing that I also want to do is I want to take a tape measure to see what the size of the deck is, and I actually want to be able to tow two vehicles. So we got this. This is one of my customers, Daniel Chavez. Shout out to you. I've been trying to get a transport for it. For some reason, no transporter has popped up to transport this to New Mexico. And we have Project Acti as well. That's got to go over to Steve over in Montana. And so I've been not dragging my feet. I've been so busy that I haven't been able to get to it. So I think the truck and trailer is going to do its cross-country trip very soon. And that's why I got to get to this. So the plan is to be able to fit the end box and Project Acti, which is parked on the street, on this trailer. So let me grab the tape measure, first measure up to see what kind of distance we have here. And then from there, I'll show you my plans. But for starters, let's get this on the battery tender because it's at 61%. And I want it fully 100% charged before it goes in the trailer. Affix it into its own new position. Let's make sure this is set correctly. This is a standard, but we're gonna switch this to 10 amp. And we're gonna start to charge it. It is 12 volt. That's a deep cycle battery. So it's meant to do what it's meant, meaning the intended purposes of it. Whew, I'm catching my breath because it's really hot out, humid today. So it'll go in the tongue box, a deep cycle battery that's going to trickle charge off of the slow charge is what we call it, but it's a red wire that goes and charges the actual battery from the truck. And to confirm, this is just shy of 15 feet. I guess I should measure from where the wheels are on this in Project Acti to see where it would need to fall, because when I had the two midgets on here, they almost fit, but I needed more space this way. So essentially, to make this work, I would need 5 more feet, which I don't think I can get, but here's where I can get it. Where it could potentially get sketchy is some K cars have these wheels further back. And so if that's the case, you got to remember that if I put this near the edge of the trailer, both on the front and back, there's a potential that I can fit more cars on there. So let's measure the overhang. So if we're essentially looking, this pretty much would have to be right on the edge of the trailer. So I think with that much more overhang, I would basically need another foot from here. So I could achieve a foot from there. And then if we go to the very back over here, same thing. So if I'm overhanging a car like this, for example, I get another foot. So there's a potential for that. Now I got to figure out if I could potentially gain another couple feet from here to here. So if we look at the end box, that's on the inside and this is on the inside. I basically need a ramp or a shelf. Let me show you. Basically done right from here to here is about 3 feet. So if I move this here from this A-frame to this A-frame, I think if we build up a ramp that goes like this, it would work. So in a perfect world, what I would have them do is basically build me a ramp that goes from here to here. So essentially would start the ramp here. And what that would allow me to do is then take a K car that basically would drive up onto this ramp as far as I could before I hit this tire. And the reality is I could relocate this tire somewhere else and have more of the tongue space to do more that I want with. Yeah, I could relocate this tire somewhere else. I know some people relocate them to like here or like here, and so it overhangs here instead of it being on the front of the tongue. I don't mind it there, but I think we'll run into issues when it comes to, you know, building the ramp that I want to build out so that I can fit K cars. Because in reality, I don't want to put 2 full-size cars here. I think that would be very, very dumb. So if I achieve what I need to do and build that ramp out, I think that's enough to get a K car to fit here. So in my craziness, the thing that I would say, so okay, the tire goes here. I have those new straps that strap on the wheel. So I think really in reality, a wheel would probably be falling here. So the ramp would come up to here. So it'd probably remove this. And then I could strap that wheel to this point over here. And then I'll probably have the fabricator add another D-ring somewhere here and here. And then also probably another D-ring here and here. So now I have strapping points for the tires that are going to be over here. Because if we're thinking about it, a K car is almost pretty much where these D-rings are. When I fit a K car in here, half the wheel goes on here and half the wheel goes on here. So if I'm following the pattern of the D-ring, they essentially, the tires go on these D-rings. So these D-rings are really not that useful to me. I would need them more wider out. So I would probably have the fabricator put a D-ring somewhere here and here, and then I would strap him here and here. I know that all kind of doesn't make sense until you finally see it put into action. So the plan is to find the fabricator that will do that and that will put it into action so that I can actually fit 2 K cars on here. Don't get me wrong, this is going to be kind of crazy and wild, but I think it'll be worth it ultimately without having to invest on a whole new trailer. Could I get a 20-foot trailer? Absolutely. It's not in the budget right now. So if I can make this my 20-foot trailer by allowing me to do what I need to do, I think it'll be helpful. The only thing we might run into an issue is when you pull the car up, I could see it, you know, like the bumper kind of being in its way, but the only way we're going to find out is if we do it. So taking some measurements, seeing if it'll work, and then going from there. Technically speaking, if we're looking at the send box, the send box kind of falls right around 130 inches. So that's just past 10.5 feet, which is what's standard on these K cars anyways. But again, the thing that we really need to worry most about is center of the wheel. So let's measure that. So if we're going off based off the center of the wheel, in reality, what needs to touch the trailer is about 100 inches or 99 inches for this particular car. So if we're going off of that, basically I'm at 100 inches. So the center of the wheel will fall right on this edge. And then the other wheel will fall right on this edge here. So if we make a scratch here, that's where we know the wheelbase is. So if we're looking at it now with that little ramp shelf that I'm showing you here, which by the way, would basically start right at this edge. So it essentially would be a ramp starting basically at this edge or closer to the D-ring, so more like here, and going probably close to here. So very narrow ramp, which leaves this open, and then it would just kind of come out to here, and same thing over there. And then if we go where the mark is here, and we're left with like 100.5 inches. And so this is where I say, for example, in Acti, the overhang could be a little higher. So the tire's going to sit a little higher. Essentially, the bumper or whatever car it is, it's going to overhang. So if I do a quick measurement here as to how much feet we actually have from where I want to be, let me show you what it comes out to be. So from the ramp all the way to here, we're right at 16 feet. And if we bring the tape measure back towards us here, so essentially it would fall right at past 17.5, which is 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches past. So yeah, almost 17.5 feet of deck space is what that gives me. So I don't know. I really have to think about this. I have to measure Project Acti and see how it looks. So if we come and measure Project Acti, let's almost there. A couple inches shy, maybe. That's the end of Project Acti. And essentially where the front bumper falls, we're right at 125 inches. So 125 inches, and then I'd have to look what that one was at and see where it falls. But again, the most important part, we pull this a tad bit closer here, and then we come over to this wheelbase. See, it's only 75 inches. So the other one's 99 inches, and this is 75 inches. So let's see where this would fall. Okay, I'm a little bit more hopeful now, because now that I see the tape measure and see where it falls, and maybe you can kind of understand the vision on camera, but let's just say the edge of the ramp would come up here so that I could still functionally open this. So basically, like to the end there, so that front tire would fall right here, and then 75 inches would be right here. So then we would start 75 inches right here. And keep in mind that Project Acti had an overhang, so the overhang would be here. So the front of Project Acti would be there, and then 75 inches would be right here. And I would have to measure to see how much further back, but I think if we're doing it right, it would probably be at like 7 feet, which is just not very much to the end of it. So let's just say Project Acti falls right here, right? I gotta get a better mark. Let's just say Project Acti falls right there. Then the start of that would be a couple inches back. So a couple inches back, we'll push this, let's see, we'll push this back 9 inches to here. Well, now I lost my tape measure. So right there, let's see if we would achieve what we need to. Yeah, it looks like we will, because the overhang, like I said before, was 99 inches. So even if we left that there and we push this back over this way, Project Acti would end right there, and the next one would start here. Maybe I'd need to get like a couple pillows to put in between so that when the cars shift back and forth, they wouldn't move into each other. But again, I still 99, the back tires would come to here. So I think if I was going to put the back tire, I could put it closer to the edge, overhang that front bumper, that rear bumper a little, and then I'd still have enough space in between. All right, so that gives me a lot of hope. Now it's to find the fabricator, a fabricator to do this is the goal, where it's not going to break the bank. Like, I'm not trying to pay $1,000, because at that point, if I pay $1,000, I could probably invest a couple more $1,000 and have a bigger trailer. So yeah, I think we can make it work. I think we can definitely make it work. So fingers crossed. By the time you're watching the end of this video, I'll hopefully have something figured out. But for now, we got to get situated on this to start bolting up everything. So remove all the old wiring, put new wiring in, get the trailer brakes to work, and go from there. So I got to get the jack this up, get rid of these old lights, see where the old wires are ran to go where they go, and go from there. Finally getting some shade over the trailer, so I guess I could start on this side. First things first, let's get rid of, or open up, wow, didn't take much to open up that box. So we'll open up this box and see what the wiring that we have going on here, and then kind of chase it down from there. The upside to this is I already know where to run each wire, so I know that this side, going down the right side of the trailer, if I'm looking from the back to the front, we're gonna have the green and brown, and then going over to the other side, we're gonna have the brown and yellow. So then I can at least get rid of this, and I think I want to mount it up maybe underneath. I don't know, I guess I don't mind it there, but I also got to get rid of this, because I got to see where all these wires go. It looks like they were going to this junction box here, but they're not anymore. So move this out of the way and go from there. Guess there's no turning back now. This is for my own purposes, but green is going to the left and yellow is going to the right. It looked like this white one was being grounded for some reason. Let's take this whole box out of here. I can kind of give us an idea. I think this wire's fine. It's just these connections that got to get rewired. But like I said, I'll have a whole new box, and I'll use this as a reference as to where to put each thing, so we know where they go. So the old Breakaway is going here, and it looks like we have two different connections. That was a ground that was going to it. I'm assuming that's one of the wires, and the blue wire's another one, and it's gets fed through that side, and then probably underneath we'll find the other side that gets fed somewhere else. So take this out, see how the battery's doing, and go from there. And then it looks like we had this, which was the emergency breakaway, so when the trailer falls off, it pulls a pin and it releases it. And that probably got connected to those same wires that came off of that. As you can tell, it wasn't functioning very well. And thankfully enough, I didn't have a breakaway for it to have to function. So looks like it might have been connected to the ground at some point and maybe another wire. But this whole contraption here should give me that same system. Let's open it up and take a look what we got. Thank goodness it came with instructions, but it basically says electronic brake, and then it says 12 volt in black, so it keeps the breakaway battery charged, which is the same thing we're going to keep to charge the big battery that I have on the charger now. So we'll just have to run the brakes to the correct place and go from there. What is cool is that it seems to be a universal system. So this one was mounted this way, that one's going to be mounted that way. It looks like there's lights that say fully charged, recharging, or charging. So that's cool. So we'll be able to charge the battery that's in this system. We'll put the same U-bolts on. Not the prettiest, but save money any way that I can. And if I can find other U-bolts, I will. But surprisingly, it's the one thing the kit did not come with, which is kind of crazy. Something that I do want to utilize is these original wires. I'm going to use them as snakes because, as you can see, there's conduit that's going on either side of the truck, or I'm sorry, the trailer, that allows it to go. The only thing I don't have is this other wire, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes to fish new of this wire. I don't think the new one came with this, but let's look. So if we're looking, we have green, brown, red, yellow, another brown, a yellow, we have red, and we have white. So that's a total of 6 wires. If we go look over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's good. I want to look up a wiring diagram to see how a trailer's supposed to go. And then I got to get this thing up on jack stands, at least in the rear. Maybe drop the tongue a little bit. But I think I'm going to put jack stands in the rear so that I'm good and safe under there. But as I could tell already, I got under here. Let me show you. Under here, we already have the trailer lights. So the wire's going that way. And then they just get spliced into there. And they go back. But then if you look ever so slightly, whoa, super zoom. It looks like we have wires over here that are probably for the brake controllers on the brake sensors on there. So I'm gonna take a look at that and see what we can come up with. I hope both sides have brakes, but it may only be one side that has brakes on this. But I don't understand how that would be the case. So let's get this thing jacked up and see what it's all about. Okay, now we got some space to work. We got the trailer on jack stands. It's not too wobbly. If anything, it's jacked up on 4 points. 3 points were nice and solid. You can see it's a little flexy, but nothing crazy. So now let's start on the wiring. Megan brought me the new box. This is the new box. It actually came with a breakaway as well, which is kind of interesting, but let's see if the new box will fit in the same place the old one did. Knowing the truth, it looks like it will. All right, cool. What's interesting is it comes with a holster for the actual thing. So if you're looking at it, it's almost like a holster for one of these. Another cool thing is that it got me what I need to see, which in this case is the trailer wire. So looks like white will be ground, black and red will be auxiliary power, purple is reverse lights, which is yellow. Yellow is turn signal, brown is tail light, green is right turn signal, and blue is electronic brake. So it looks like that's what it's going to look like to do all that we need to do. Let's open up the box and see what the box to the inside looks like, because that'll also tell us what we need to do. I just started working and I forget to record, but we're working on these tail lights. These cheap China Amazon tail lights. Unfortunately, the studs always rot out, so basically had to break those off. So kind of just dangling these here for now. You got to find the wire where that comes from to begin with. And what I'm doing now is, this was the old center light. The new one comes with this big tube that basically will not fit in the center there. So now what I get to do is drill out some pretty thick metal. So I got my step bit, gonna drill it out so that we could eventually fit that one right there. And it looks like it's gonna be smaller, so I'll need to drill out holes that will allow me to put bolts on it too. Another thing I gotta do is go get some bolts that'll work for this. So never ending project. All right, so with the step bit, it actually wasn't too bad, because I guess the metal's not as strong as I thought, or these $400 Mac tool step bits are actually worth it, not like the cheapo ones that you get at the store. But I'm trying to do this one-handed, feeding the wires just to show you. Now it works, and now it'll fit. Fortunately, I don't know who drilled that hole originally, but it's off kilter to the left, which it is what it is. It's gonna drive me nuts, but can't really do much from there. Looks like one hole will line up there, and I'll just have to make a new hole, but it is protected by this thing. I think if I really wanted to, I could center this and make another hole, but it's just gonna be a pain to get another hole there because of where this hole's already placed. If I hadn't a step bitted it up, but there's no way of knowing what the previous person had done here, but it'll work, doesn't matter. This light didn't even function before, and now it'll function. The plate was originally here. I think I'm gonna relocate it to the left fender and just actually bolt it up to the fender, I think sideways or something, just because over here it always got wrecked by cars coming off of it because of this light where the placement was. So I'm gonna relocate the plate. I want to clean this up, maybe I'll with some isopropyl alcohol. I do want to get some of the black paint on here so this looks a little bit better and doesn't rust or rot out. There's some surface rust there, nothing crazy, but we'll see how far I get, because you know, there's only so much I can do. I really want to get the lights working. The paint is the least of my worries. Now we're under the trailer, snaking it through the first set of conduits. Splits off here and goes into here, so now we'll push it through here so it has a nice pathway to get through there. All right, after getting super rusty crusty, we got some new lines ran, some new wires. Last time they had me just grounded to the actual light and trailer. This time we're gonna ground it to the chassis, or not the chassis, but we'll run a separate ground for the light itself. So I'll get some light coming over here, and yeah. So the only thing I don't like is how they ran this so exposed here, so I might end up pulling this back, taping this up so that it doesn't really catch anything, especially this brown wire. The way that they did it on that harness wasn't the way that you peel it away. I think they thought maybe you would run one wire all the way around the trailer and then wire it all up, but it doesn't work that way. These conduits only fit so much, so I had to split them up. And so as you can tell, the brown split up from the white and the green. The white's a ground. I believe this is turn and this is tail, so that's how it'll end up being. So just like it was before, was the brown and the green. So yeah, I'm gonna wire this light up. This light will be done. Gonna tap into that light as well, into this at some point. So we'll have fresh wires here. Now we'll be able to make them a little shorter, pull the extra length that way so that it's nice and taut, so it doesn't drag on something and catch. I might even drill a hole. Well, I can't because of the ramp. I forgot. That's why they ran this conduit here, because the ramps slide in and out. So yeah, I might just have to, I don't know, secure it a specific way. I just don't like when it dangles so low. Another thing I want to do is, there's marker light here and a marker light there, but I wanted to add another one over here for the brake light, even though it'll be covered by that, but it'll be still seen. I just feel like I have an extra one that came with the kit, because normally the kits come with them. So this is what comes in the kit, a 4-ping, then it comes with 4 of these, and then 2 of the red lights, which are right here. So I figure stick one right there. Nice added light. Why not? It's already stuck on here, so you could see it when you're towing. So an extra light won't hurt it. It's just an extra light in case anything happens, you know. I wish it was a 3-wire, so it could act as a brake light, but unfortunately it's not a 3-wire. So we'll still make it work. We'll put it here, shoot it to the wires over here. Oh, you know what? Might not be able to, again, because of the dumb ramp. So scrap that idea. Yeah. So yeah, that's why they didn't do it. I think I'm outsmarting the manufacturer when I really should not be, because the ramps go, I think, all the way to there. But I don't know. We'll look at it. Maybe we can outsmart the manufacturer. Let's see. I did happen to come across some high performance enamel. It dries in 15 minutes. So clean this off, and then I wire brush that. I'm gonna try and hit that with some paint real quick, make it look a little bit better than it does. Hopefully this still sprays because it's fairly old. So let's see. All right, so I went ahead and scraped that off, scraped the rest of the rear off. That's all painted black, so that's good. That's painted black. Now we're waiting for it to dry now that this light is wired up, so that I can pull some slack back out towards this way to keep this nice and taut. There's a white pinstripe on this trailer that I kind of don't want to lose, so I haven't really painted the side of that. Otherwise, last time that would have gotten painted. So I don't know, but now that I have the paint, I'm gonna wire brush this down, some alcohol. Same thing with the tongue area where we had to look for when insurance was looking to see where the information for the trailer was. So it wasn't there, so now I can paint all over that and paint the box again, and then maybe touch up these areas as well. And then soon we'll button it all up. I don't know, I don't want to lose these original stickers, and I kind of like the white pinstripe, so I don't really know if that'll get painted or not. Maybe I will. See, like that sticker's almost kind of gone, but I think the manufacturer might send me, I don't know if it's just the VIN sticker, which is this sticker over here on this side, or if they're going to send me all the stickers that go all around the trailer. If they do send me all the stickers that go around the trailer, then eventually I'll just scrape all those off, clean it up, and then paint it all black and forget about the white pinstripe. But for now, the areas that were getting rusty and crusty and these I wanted to paint. So when I put these back on, I'll end up painting those as well so they don't rust out, because they use zinc instead of using like stainless steel. But that already looks so much better than it did before. And then I'll probably end up putting like one of these strips that come in the box here. It's so loud. There's an airplane flying by. But one of these strips, I think I have some more left over, so maybe I'll end up putting some like here and all around the trailer. Maybe one there and one there. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it looks, and then we'll go from there. But at least I have these high-vis stickers, and yeah. All right, and there it is. It's pretty, but it's not pretty at the same time. But it does what it needs to do, which is prevent further rust from coming in. Got all the other things buttoned up and touched up. These corners that I didn't do before. These light holders, the rear. Now it's looking much better. It's going to look a little funky for the time being. I think I want to recoat the deck again, but this time do it with bed liner paint. So we'll see. Maybe I buy some more of the bed liner that I did on Project Acti and cover this whole thing with bed liner. But before I do any of that, I have to bring it to the fabricator to do what I had spoken earlier about, and then I can really go all in. The areas that I put paint on right now were not going to be touched by the fabricator, and that's why I did it. So ultimately that'll be okay. But I got to finish wiring this up. This will hopefully dry. Then we can put all the plugs where they're supposed to go and go from there. All right, so the wires ran. Putting this kind of gasket on the back. Push these wires through and then bolt it all up. Just like that. Tape this up so you don't see the wire colors. Peeling that away. And all the rear lights are installed. I got to pull this blue one. This one's for the brakes. I actually overshot it and brought it, but it's got to go to this back brake and that front brake. And then these are wired together, so there's wire you may not see. Maybe I'll show it underneath, but it goes from the inside of the axle over from one side to the other. So gonna finish wiring that up, and then should hopefully have trailer lights working and trailer brakes. All right, so the lights on this side are completely done. I was gonna put a third light over here, but it's just too much work. Don't have enough time for it. But this whole side is done. Trailer brakes are wired up. This light is wired up. Now I got to go back to this side. This light is wired up. And now I got to wire up these two lights, just like I did on the other side. And then from there, I'm going to have to splice everything into the box. I also have to put the trailer brake, the breakaway system. So I kind of screwed up a little bit, and I made these a little bit too short. So I'm going to have to splice like another extension to get into this box, which is unfortunate, but that's sometimes what happens. I don't know why I screwed up so badly, but I should have unspooled more and I didn't for some stupid reason. So I'll have to get some more from there, unspool it out, solder the connections in, which is unfortunate because it would have been nice to just keep a uniform connection like I did with this one. This one's long enough, but it is what it is. Things happen. You just learn from them and move on. So yeah, so then after I wire up this side, then I'll come and do the trailer breakaway. which is in this box. So still working on the trailer, but I'm very grateful for my wife, Megan. She made some sort of chicken. It's kind of spicy, but you know what? I'm very grateful for my wife. She's very much so a traditional home wife, I guess you could say. She takes care of the kids. I take care of bringing the bread home, I guess. But yeah, grateful for that. Call me sexist, old school, whatever you want to call me, but there's something nice about somebody that cares enough to bring it, whether it's your wife, your husband, whatever it is, your significant other, that they bring this to you. Some nice ice cold water. And we'll keep going. Almost done. Getting closer and closer to finish. Hopefully the sun stays up for us. We accomplished the right side, moved on to installing the box. The box is installed. We're running the wires to where they need to go. So the right side is a side that I'm starting with first. I'll put this plug in here, kind of get it situated. And then I gotta extend these out. And that's what's also gonna do my brakes. So I gotta extend these out, bring these over to here, and then we should be good. Luckily, I got a cheat sheet here. White is ground, black is auxiliary, so power. So that's gonna go to both the trailer brake and then the battery that's gonna be in here. So I gotta run a separate wire for that. And then reverse light, we never did anything with the reverse light. In the future, I plan on adding lights, but for now, we're not really worried about it. What we did is the left turn signal, the tail lights, the right turn signals, and the electric brake. So that's gonna come from the left side of the trailer. And so yeah, so gonna get that up at some point as well and get it wired. All right, I had to go get my flashlight, but we're wired up, put together, and now comes the mundane task of cleaning up. So I gotta let it off the jack stands. Gotta get rid of all this junk back here. It's late into the night, but that's okay. Still gotta attach the plate too. So eventually get to all that. Running out of light, running out of day. Can only make so much more noise before my neighbors get pissed off. So gotta find the little top to the thing and then move it along. Okay, so it's a moment of truth. Truck is backed up. Gonna unholster it, plug it in, and see what happens. Hopefully it means it's working. Wow. What? It's working. Oh, that's awesome. That says charging. We got lights. 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 Oh, this makes me happy. And we don't have lights. And we don't have lights. Kind of curious to know why we don't have lights there. Huh. I wonder if I miswired something. Oh, I'm thinking the brake lights are on right now, but I don't know. It's a slight issue. These are on for some reason. So this brake light's on, that brake light's on, because all the brake lights are on. And let me release it and show you. So if I release the wood, you see closely, the right or the left brake light goes off, but the right brake light stays on, and so does that third running light. So that means I messed something up, but it's too late now. Right now, we're gonna go for a drive, see how it drives. Okay, so I'm looking at it. This is triggering the blinkers. So I think what I did was I accidentally put the running light wire on the blinker switch and the brake light wire. So I swapped them by mistake. So that's all I got to do is swap it back. Also got another hitch receiver to drop it down a little bit, so it's a little bit more level. It's a little lower. The other one kind of sat up a little higher, so now my approach angle is not as killer as it was before. But yeah, for now it's pretty much where it's at. I've always wanted to get that wheel clean, but I've never had the chance to, because I've always wanted to bring it to Teggy or Cheeky, but they're always too busy to do the trailer. It's so big and takes up so much space. So tomorrow I'll probably end up fixing the blinker situation. Blinkers work, which is the most important part. I got to get this wheel off of here because that lug nut there is what's it called? It's cross threaded, so that's got to come off anyway. And then from there, we'll pretty much be good to go. So I was talking to Savi, and Savi thinks I should sell this instead of having the fabricator fabricate something for me. Personally, I don't know. We'll kind of see. I might end the video here, or I might end it tomorrow once I finally fix it. So I don't know. Comment below. Probably by the time you see this video, I've already decided. So I'll either have a ramp situation or I'll have a longer trailer. So comment below. What would you do? Would you sell this trailer, try and recoup as much money for it and move on to the next thing? Or would you keep the trailer knowing that I put brand new tires, brand new lights, brand new breakaway, brand new tongue jack, winch, battery, everything? Would you keep it and fabricate it on, or what would you do? Either way. Okay, my impatience got the greater of me. Fixed it. What it was is I'm looking at two different diagrams for where goes what, and so now we got the running lights in the correct. One sheet said the green is this, and the other one said this, and my dyslexia got the better of me, and that's what happened. So now let's put the brake on and see what happens. Okay, now we put the brake on, and now it lights up back here as it should, which is great. It's exactly what we want. That acts as a third brake light as well, so amazing. It works as it should. Lights light up the way they should, so didn't completely screw it up. Just maybe the dyslexia of colors, but looks good. So people are gonna look at me kind of crazy. So this one says that the green one is a right stop turn, and then the brown one is a tail light. When we look at here, the brown one is right turn, green one is tail light. So I think that's what I did by mistake. I accidentally made the green one the right stop turn, or I screwed it all up. But this is what happens when you get things from China. The correct way, I'm sure, was online. Again, it achieved the purposes of making sure that it was all there, and it may not be the correct color combination, but it's set up so that the lights work properly, and that's it. So I mean, you won't never really need to touch this anymore. The only one I need to tap into is for auxiliary power, which this one has auxiliary power now, to charge the battery that's in here for the winch, and for long drives it'll charge it perfectly. But for now, we'll leave it like that because I have to run a wire from here and then tap a hole under here to the battery. So leave it like that and we'll go from there. One thing that's interesting is this battery that comes in here in the Breakaway doesn't come charged, and it's been charging, and when I turn the truck off it actually charges. So I hope it doesn't kill my battery on the truck. I don't know if that's a Chevy feature or that's just like a trailer plug feature, but that's kind of interesting. And then on a side note too, I realized that on Toby I installed the trailer brake controller, and I definitely have to get it programmed because it doesn't work. So got to figure out who will program it for me, or if there's a way to do it online.